Hey, all you readers in the world, you are back with another episode of Seen and Spoken. This is the Good Life Bookstore. I am one of your favorite authors, Good Life Russ, and you can find me by that name on all social media handles.
I am Chloe Simone. You can find me on at Chloe Simone Studio on all social media platforms. And we are back again. I know that y'all you couldn't get enough of us, and we can't get enough of y'all. And we keep finding the most amazing authors to talk to. So we're here, and we're here to stay. So today we have another special guest. We have Mr. AJR Brooks. Tell us a little bit about who you are. And is that your pen name? Tell us what's your government name.
Hi guys, thank you for having me. It's been an honor being a part of this show. Yes, that is my pen name. AJR Brooks is definitely my pen name, and my government name, which is Aaron Jacob Renford Brooks. A double barrel name, it's a long name, so I thought, let me shorten it. AJR Brooks, just like JK Rowling.
We like that comparison. It makes sense to me. So we want to just jump right in. We have one of our favorite segments, and it is called What's the Book? So what that is just a quick like 20, 30 to second kind of spill where you tell us a little bit about what the book's about, like who might be the audience where this would really resonate with, but we don't want to
Mhm.
give them too much because, we want them to get it and read it and tell us how they feel.
Yeah, definitely. My book is called Man March, No Safe Haven. And the book is based in my home city,
Mhm.
which is a crime thriller fiction book with some of my own experiences in there as well. And the book is about one man who's trying to protect his family from dark forces from his past.
I love it. Quick and concise. Now you mentioned your home city. Where is your home?
In Birmingham in the United Kingdom.
I got you. Now, I just had to put that out there because I say we're worldwide. So I just have to remind you guys that we're worldwide.
Yeah, we get a little bit of everybody. I let us see.
Yeah.
So I like to begin the question at the beginning. Um, so give us some insight on what it was like for you growing up. Was reading a culture, was writing a culture? Did you have to go to the library to find books, or what was that like for you?
I'm glad that you asked that question. Basically, when I was a kid, I had a speech delay development. I couldn't speak when I was
Hmm.
young.
Mhm.
And that encouraged me to pick up a book and to learn to read. So English was one of my strongest subjects as a kid growing up. And it was my way of having to communicate with my family members, including my grandparents as well, who were my complete rock growing up.
Hmm.
And it was my way of telling them or writing or drawing a picture for them to let them know how I was feeling, trying to express my emotions to them, or just trying to say writing simple words. But it was more of a challenge for me as well because I wanted to talk good. I wanted to read as well. So I remember picking up my first book, a couple of my books. One was the Bible itself, because my
Hmm.
grandmother, she was a devout Christian. So I
Hmm.
used to read a Bible from her, from the pages. And I
Hmm.
remember I picked up my first book as well that came from Danielle Steele,
Mhm.
where my mom, she was a massive Danielle Steele fan. She loved her books. So I used to start reading books from there
Hmm.
growing up. And after a while, I started doing little short plays. I started writing little scripts. And that's when I found my voice even further. But I never would have thought about becoming an author. I thought this would be something more of a hobby, something I would enjoy doing in my spare time. And I decided, you know what? I'm gonna write one day, I'm gonna write a book. I'm going to publish a book and I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna get it out there in the world.
Hmm. I love that that was your story. I love that you started off like that because that was very similar to my story. Like a lot of the audience is learning, like, I have autism and my youngest son has autism. So when I was younger, I had to overcorrect a lot. Like I read a lot and I paid attention to social cues to see what other people were doing and how they talked
Mhm.
and how they addressed things, and it was a huge hurdle. Like once I jumped over, because like you said, I got into public speaking, I got into writing, I got into poetry. Like it opened up a whole new world that I used to think like I wasn't invited to. You know what I mean? I'm like, maybe this isn't for me because I hate reading. I hate talking to people. Like I hate articulating my feelings. But once I started to learn these things, I realized it made everything so much smoother.
Mm.
So I love that you shared that. I'm glad we got some insight on that.
I definitely love that. Excuse me, that he shared that. He literally took my first question, which was going to be, did you always see yourself becoming an author? So now we're going to pivot a little bit and, and say, at what point did you realize that you needed to become a published author?
I started realizing that 6 years ago,
Okay.
truthfully. I just didn't know where to start.
Mhm.
So while I was writing my book, when I first wrote Man March, I'll tell you how that came into me actually. I had the title Man March, but it was a story. That's where I got stuck at. It was just trying to
Mhm.
write a story. So I thought, should I write a story about my own life first? But I thought, no, I'm not gonna do that just yet. So I thought, I'm into creativity. I love writing creativity. I can get characters from my head. I can create a whole scenery from the back of my mind. I'm like this with my girls as well when I read stories to them and I come up with imaginative stuff and so do they. And I thought, you know what? Let me go into being a creative again. Let me start writing my story. Something probably in Birmingham. There's no stories in this city. So I thought, there's no stories here at all. You always hear things from London, from authors, from
Yeah,
Manchester and everywhere else, from even New York or other places where authors will write their books,
yeah,
like James Patterson, who's my favorite author. That's where my inspiration came from.
Yeah.
So I thought, you know what, I'm going to be the first author, the first Black British author for me to write a fiction crime thriller book based in Birmingham. And I'm going to come up with a story one day. And I did. And I took inspiration just by walking around, by watching crime dramas, by knowing from my own, taking things from my own experiences, and I put them together. And when I did that, it took me 3 years collectively for me to create that whole story. And just last year to publish it.
Mhm.
I love that. Well, come on, breaking down barriers. We love that
Mhm.
definitely. And you mentioned James Patterson. I can see that vibe in this book, definitely.
Mhm.
Mm.
So you gonna have 100 books too. That's good to know.
Right.
I'm the
That
same
is
way.
that is my goal. That is
The
my goal.
same
My
way.
goal is to write books and continue doing it.
Mhm. Well,
Do it for a
we need a
living. That's
hundred books.
awesome.
We need it.
So a lot of times, when I hear authors say, they're a part of their story, or it's stories that they've lived in their book, there was some part that healing had to take place. So in
Mm.
your experience, did the healing come before the book, or did they happen simultaneously?
It happens simultaneously. When I was a kid, um, it was very hard for me to even say this. I was sexually abused when I was a kid
Mm,
because of I couldn't talk.
mhm,
And it was very hard for me to express that. And I became very overprotective over myself, and I became
mhm,
very overprotective over my kids as well. And over that course of action, when you're around others as well who've been through different traumas or been through different psychological past year themselves, the healing comes from by determining what do you want to do in the future, the kind of person that you want to become. Do you want that to determine who you are right now, or can you overcome that and can you be the better person that you can be and not let that past affect you? For me, therapy helped me, and I went to therapy. And I've
mhm,
always said to every man, especially black men, go to therapy. It is the
mhm,
best medicine. Once you speak up and open up, and it's hard as well. Trust me, once you get everything out, you will feel so much better for it. And my wife used to tell me, write down journals, you're a writer. So take up a journal, write down your thoughts, write down what's in your head, because I always overthink quite a lot about everything. So I started journaling, writing little bits down. Um, my wife does that. She's a psychologist herself as well. So it was things like that as well where I started to learn. So when I was writing my book and I put a little bit of myself on there, I wanted to write a book where both men and women can also relate to as well, and
Hmm.
also what's in it as well, and the chapters and how I define them as well too. I'm trying my best not to give too much, but
No,
yeah.
no, please. You're doing great.
Oh,
Hmm.
so in my book, there's a character on there. He's the main character. He's named Marcus Mace Thompson. He's a family man. He's struggling. He's also an ex-army. He was also part of a gang in his past. Keeps him grounded is his grandfather. What keeps him grounded is his family. But he's not realizing that as a married man, especially with his wife, she's seeing there's problems going on because he's trying to save one of his family members from being coerced into a gang by being
Hmm.
by being groomed into a gang as well with all these
Rules
lavish
for the game.
lifestyles. Yeah.
Okay.
So I've decided to, because that used to happen to me when I was a kid, where I got nearly into that, got groomed into a gang by lavish lifestyles and that, and I realized this isn't for me. I got out of there, and I've seen so many young boys that are getting they're getting groomed into, the money, getting groomed into the new um shoes, the new
Hmm.
branding material. And this is the thing, you feel like you're part of something, and then not realizing that you end up putting yourself into a situation where you're gonna find it hard to get yourself out of. So Marcus was trying to get his cousin out of that situation, but not realizing that his wife, who is seeing all of this, it feels like she's losing her husband because she wants her
Hmm.
husband to talk to her, to talk to her. And they've both got a daughter as well, who's so young, and all she wants is her dad.
Hmm. Yeah, that's a very relatable story. That's a story
It
a
Mm,
lot of black boys are going to have to face and going to experience, especially when you decide, you want to use your gift in the world. Some people are going to try to take advantage of that gift. And a
mm,
part of, you having a gift is your protection, is how you covet it, is how you speak over, it, how you pour into it. So yeah, that's definitely on point.
yeah.
That's a good read.
Yeah. I love how it's so many different relationship dynamics too, with
Mm-hmm.
parenting and marriage and family. And then when you talk about gangs, a lot of people are seeing this as their extended family, or they're
Mm-hmm.
connected to it in a while. And then what do you do when those relationships are conflicting with one, each
Hmm.
other, and then two, the future that you see for yourself? So yeah, that definitely sounds like an amazing read.
Mm-hmm.
So okay, I got a
Hmm.
question.
Yeah.
I'm processing in real time, so y'all walk with me in this one. So we talk a lot about like coming from our past and like becoming our new self, and we're leaving the past behind.
Mm-hmm.
But most of the time, we find that our past is actually what shapes us and makes us equipped to do the things that we're trying to do in life. So, and that sounds like that's very much what Mace is going through a lot in the story. So maybe
Hmm.
even answering this from his perspective of like, is there a fine line, or where is that line between the things you leave behind versus the things that you accept and kind of reconfigure into this new version of yourself?
I think that's a fantastic question you just asked me. I think that's a question many men are still do struggle with time to time as well, because
Mhm.
some of them feel like because they're being brought up a certain way, they have to be this way, they have to be strong, they have to be closed off, and sometimes it's their version of, I'm just trying to protect my family. I'm trying to be this man so that way I can show no sign of weakness, that I have to be this kind of way and nobody ain't going to exploit me or my family, but not realizing that that also can hold you back. So when I wrote Man March, I put it in a lot of emotions into it as well. So I had to make it in a way that other men and women can also understand as well by reading the book itself as well, by just getting into it, not just as a crime related to gangs, but also what men also are facing as well, and what the women are also dealing with these men as well behind the scenes as well, and also seeing the hurt, seeing this mask, yeah, seeing this protection that you don't have to protect, but just be around with your family. That's all the protection that you need, by being seen, by being safe, by feeling, you know what, you are not the person that you are from your past, but this is who you are now. You are a married man. You've got your family. These guys, they're going to continue doing what they're going to do. You lead them to it. And this is where Macy's wife is trying to tell him. But then in his head, he's feel like he has to protect his loved ones. He has to protect his family from these people from his past. There's so much that I can say about this book. Even going on to the I'm even going on to the second book as well and further on. But yeah, I can't give too much.
Right. So, well, let me ask this, and if you can answer this, I guess yes or no. Then,
Yeah.
does Mace's definition of protection change from the beginning to the end of the book?
Yes, it does.
Okay. All right. That was my answer.
So give us some insight on your process of writing. Because there's different types of writing. There's writers who can shut the world off to write what they're doing, and then there's some writers like us who still have to juggle everything that they have going on in life and add a book into the mix. So what is that like for you, especially being, a father and an expecting father?
Challenging. I'll tell you that now. It can be challenging. There's a saying if you have time, you can always find time to do the things that you can do. And for me, it was just finding the time for me to write this book. Even though raising a family, going to working as well, in security, running a small catering business, but the time that I've had to myself, I've always found time to write my book, or if I've got ideas. So if I'm at work and I've got nothing to do, what I used to do was I would take notes. If I got a notebook or I'd be on my phone, I'd be typing things on my phone, on my notebook, and then I always come up with something. So I'm thinking, okay, I need to put this into my chapter. Okay, maybe I need to re-edit my chapter and put this in instead. So I did it in that way. So I've had to balance everything else at the same time. But it's just trying to find time, how to make time as well. So any time that I've had off, if I'm not on my PlayStation, if I'm not going to the gym, if I'm not with my kids, if I'm not with my wife, if I'm not working, I'll be on my book.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And that's routine is what I like to even see as like, similar to the outline of when we're writing the book. Like for me, things come together when I can start to see the flow, when I can start to see, okay, I see how I'm gonna do this. I gotta do this when I get up now. I gotta do this before bed. I can't go bowling no more. I can't do this. And I have to tell myself this is temporary. This is for the book. Things won't always be this way. But right now, we gotta lock in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You know what it is? Like I've said, if you have a passion for something and you wake up one morning and all you think about is writing or just doing that same thing, and you go to bed and you're thinking about the same thing, then it's for you to do. Then that is your
Mhm.
passion to do. And that was my passion. So every time I've had that story in my mind, I had to write it. So
Mhm.
3 o'clock in the morning, be on my laptop, writing everything down, thinking, man, do you know what? I'm gonna get 2 chapters done, and then that's I'm gonna go to bed. I end up going up to a different chapter or working chapter 4, or I'm going to chapter 10. I'm looking at the time, I'm thinking, wow, it's 6 a.m. already. I've got to make sure my girls are good because they're gonna overpower me in the morning. And this is the thing. So and they got more energy than me. And then I'm there thinking I'm gonna get saucy later on because I've lost track of time because I'm too busy writing on my book. But then at the same time, when I think about it, it was all worth it.
Mhm.
Seeing this, it was absolutely worth it. And when I look at my book and I've seen it in people's hands, it really gives me that greatest joy inside.
Mhm.
And just seeing it just being out there, it really does. And it pushes me further for me to be consistent in writing because this is what I want to do. And I realize I'm meant to be an author.
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
We talk about that all the time. Me and Chloe is, everyone that published a book is an author. Some people are just writers. And an author is someone who has to write. We're going to write.
Yeah.
We want to write. We love writing. Writing is annoying sometimes. You go through all of the things, but it's your thing. You know what I mean?
Mhm. It is.
And it's a different kind of feeling to hold your book in your hands.
Hmm.
Mhm.
It
And
is.
apply that new book smell to your own
Yeah.
book.
Hmm.
It
So
felt a lot like parenting for me. Felt like this is my baby.
It is. It really does. It's like holding a newborn baby in your hands, and you're just so happy, and you just look at it, and you just can't stare at it. You're like you'd be holding it for time and time, and you're like, wow, I
I mean,
brought you into this world.
I respect the analogy. It's a little different. I mean, it's
Oh,
not
for
quite
the men, it's like Lion
right.
King. It's like holding up Simba
Yeah, I
to show
respect
the whole
it.
village, like, look at what I did.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, different. I rather write the book. I rather write the book. But no, so I do want to say, like, thank you so much for being so like transparent and sharing your story, because these are the kind of stories and conversations that people need to be able to have. And
Mm,
I imagine there's like freedom associated with this, being able to have these kind of conversations. And I also still want to give a special shout out to Wife,
Hmm.
because Wife has been brought up in every version of every discussion that we have had, and she has always showed up and been support. She has been planning, thinking, just there on the side. So I love that. We always say having the right person will change your life. So we
Hmm.
it
definitely love
does.
that and want to send that out too. So now I want to kind of piggyback onto what we were talking about, just different relationship types being
Yep.
affected by one another in the book. Well, with that being said, like, what is your definition of loyalty? And then how is that shown in your book?
My definition of loyalty is being with that person, listening to that person, understanding that person as well, and making sure that that person is protected, well guarded, and know that you are there for them as well all times. The same way that we are there for our children. God did not put man on this earth to be alone. He also added a woman into a man's life as well, for them two to protect each other as well at the same time. For a man and woman to be each other's partnership, and for a man and woman to be each other's best friends, and to have the understanding of creating a family and new generations together. That's my definition of what loyalty is just being there for my wife and showing my wife here how much I support and love her. And that's how I put it into my book as well. As much as Mace has got some problems with family at the moment, he loves his wife. He
Hmm.
just dealing with things as an somebody's coming from the streets, somebody who had to go to the army as well, and then coming back from the army, and then going back to civilian life as well. It was a bit of a difficult process for him, but that was his way of saying, you know what, I love you, but I've got to take care of this, babe, and that was him.
Mm.
Okay.
I love that. It made me think of a quote I said heard, and it said, "People pleasers change once they find out people will never be pleased. Like once you find out you can't help and fix and show up for everybody, like you are all that's left. Like now it's time. Now you gotta show up for you. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? And the people around you, that's an extension of you. So
Hmm.
I love that. So I have my last question, then we'll let Chloe ask her question before we wrap up because this has been a phenomenal time.
Mhm.
So my question is, because I think I might end up changing my question too. So I remember off air you were talking about you're working on another book. Is there anything or how much can you share of that with the audience?
Yeah, I'd be more than happy to. The next book is called Man March, Fire and Iron. That is my second book to the first book, No Safe Haven. That book itself, from the ending, is a bit of a there's a tragedy at the ending of book one. So with book two is a bit more longer, a lot more detailed, and a lot more emotional as well. That's how I can best put it. But yeah, I'm releasing a book in November, the ending of November,
Hmm.
and that book was amazing for me to write as well. Because I feel like when you write your first book, you kind of struggle in how to try and put this together or how to
Hmm.
get that together, and then you have to edit everything else as well on top of that.
Ooh.
But because of my book, because of the first book and how I continued it, I've had to cut it down. That made a great start for me with book two. So that's how I've ended creating a book and finishing my book as well.
Okay. So is this book a spinoff of different characters or does it follow the same characters from the first book? Is it like
It
an
will
extension?
follow it will follow the same characters and there will be new characters on there as well, which
Okay.
will continue for flow as well. So I've got ideas of how many books of Man March series I'll be making, and to also let anybody know who's interested in my work as well. I will also be creating different universes as well at Man March.
Mm,
How I say this is in the world, there's like a rep. I put it as an analogy. The
mhm,
world is like a rep. Everybody knows somebody. In Birmingham, we have a saying. Birmingham's a small place. Everybody knows somebody. So in Birmingham, everybody knows somebody in different forms or different relationships or different friendships. So there will be different characters that will have their own book and they will have their own story that you will recognize from the Man March series. And you will also see as well where it all ties in together as well. Some will be prequel and some will also be a part of that added journey. So you could say like it's a bit like the MCU universe.
mhm.
In
Okay.
other words, so yeah,
Okay. Okay. I like
that's
that.
how I've done it. Yeah.
Yeah, I like that.
So, so now you make me want to change my question.
He be answering all the questions and
I
his
know,
answers.
I know.
The best answer.
I'm telling you, it's the y'all, you authors always know what to say. Okay, talking about the writing process, was there a part or a point in time that you thought that maybe you wouldn't finish, or that was more difficult and thought that maybe you shouldn't do it? And then how did you overcome that?
You know what? That's a great question as well. There has been. What I'll tell you this,
Mhm,
as a the world that we're living in,
Mhm,
as a black author, what I've discovered is it can be difficult for a black author to get the book out there for the world sometimes. And it can be also difficult as well, where you can write a very good story into something and it would never get as highlighted as another author would. And that's one thing I have seen. And that was one thing another author did tell me himself as well. But he would always say to me, yeah, that never let anything stop you from releasing your book out there. Before I released my book, I was scared to release it into the world. And I
mhm,
remembered I had a reader who read my manuscript and they said to me, this is a good story. You need to get it out there. It's really good. And there's
yep.
been times there where I thought to myself, if I release the book, I'm not even going to put my image to the book. I'm just going to let
mhm,
it flow and let it see how it was. That's how scared I was because I didn't want nobody to try and damage my book or damage my
mhm,
reputation on my book because a black author was on it. And that's how I felt. And I thought to myself, I'm not going to let the world try and put me into a black box or try and
mhm,
Yep.
make me feel like this. And I've got to a point now where I don't want to end up feeling that way at all. So I'm going to show who I am to the world, my face, who I am, and the person that I am as well. And I'm going to release this book with my name, my image to it. And ever since I did that, it was been an absolute breeze. Like my anxieties, if I let my anxieties win, then
Mhm.
who knows where this book could have went to. But if I listened to that voice, then I wouldn't release this book at all. But because I decided take a risk, take that chance, and see it for what it is, that's what happened. And I'm glad I took that option, and I'm glad I took that chance as well.
mhm.
100%. You know, one of my favorite phrases that we say all the time is we didn't grow up seeing ourselves in the book, so we had to write our own. And
Yeah.
then we have to write our own so that our children can see themselves in books and know that it's doable and that it's important and that we have stories that deserve to be shared. So thank you for not listening to that voice and listening to this one.
Definitely. I do believe it's very important for young generations to be of new authors, to be inspired by their authors as well. And if we can do it, they can do it too, because you never know what story that they can come up with that the world may need one day.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Hmm.
Yeah, that's a big part of, being what an artist is. Art reflects the times.
Mm,
And we talk about this and we see this popping up. And now, even when you come to like movies of horror and romance, like the stories we grew up on were okay, but they don't reflect what's happening now. Because I hear a lot of people say, why is this movie about AI? Because that's what people are going through now. They can just reflect the
Mm.
time. They can only talk about their fears. I can't talk about my grandpa's fears. That was his story. But my story is da 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 da. So I love, that you published because now we're here. And now we're
Right.
able to continue doing this. In 1,000 years, someone could pick your book up.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, you know what I mean? The grace of what you're doing is why we're here to give you your flowers. Like, it's phenomenal. We're
No,
excited
Mhm.
thank
that
you.
you wrote your book. We're excited that you're still writing, that you won 100 books.
Yes.
Keeps
Yeah.
us in business. Gives us something to do. So that's amazing. And I'm glad you were able to make it today. I'm glad you signed up. I'm glad you're a part of, this bookstore family because we're steady growing. And to see all these new faces and hear all these new stories is it's like our baby. It's like what we get to hold up and we get to say, okay, like this is special. We need to take care of this. We need to protect this. We need to
Yeah.
write books about this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's been amazing. So can you let them know where they can find your books at?
Mhm.
Yeah, sure. They can find my books on Amazon
Mhm.
and Waterstones. And I know there's other sites as well where my books has been expanding around as well.
Hmm.
And you can also get my book as well from my website, which is ajrbrooks.com.
Hmm.
Mhm.
And you can also, if you're interested in buying a book, my first chapter of the book itself, for No Safe Haven, is on that website itself.
Okay, good. Get a
Nice.
little preview, a little sneak peek.
A little sneak peek preview of chapter one. Yeah.
Oh, that's
I love
generous.
that.
Well, y'all heard it. Y'all got more homework. This is why we here. We here to get y'all the books and get y'all the authors. So make sure we're acquiring
Mhm.
these books, sharing these books. That's what reading is about. It's a community. This isn't
Yeah.
about us getting smarter or not more notches on our belt with reading. This is about making sure all of us have the information.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
now that we are coming to our closing, is there a quote? Is there something on your heart, that you want to leave the people with?
I do, yeah. I just want to say to anybody who is watching this, who is a writer at heart, who is an author at heart, or just got a story that they want to release, yeah. If
Mhm.
you've got a voice inside you that is telling you not to do it, do not listen to that voice. Sometimes break that barrier that your voice is telling you to do. Listen to what's in your heart and write that story. Don't even think about it. Don't even don't even acknowledge it. Just do it. Write it. And by the time you finish and you look at it, then you're going to feel a sense of release. Never listen to that other voice. Listen to your heart because you never know who may need to listen to your story or need to read your story one day and may feel the same way that from the writings that you've done for them.
Hmm. Yes. That was great. All right, everybody. This has been another episode of Seen and Spoken. We are the Good Life Bookstore. You can find us by that name on all social medias and on YouTube. We're Good Bookstore, and we're at the goodlifebookstore.com. You can check on these authors. You can check on their books in our directory, and you can
Yep.
find our episodes on there as well. Y'all know where to find us. Y'all know what to do every time. Make sure you keep reading. Make sure you keep loving. Make sure you keep healing. All right, everybody. We see y'all next time.
All right.
Peace.
Bye, everyone.
Bye. Bye, guys.